Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this is Crescent Tools' entry into kind of a lightweight, mechanically advantaged side cutter. It's got a fairly large head on it, you know, if you compare it to say these Knipex or something like that. The part number on these is the PS5429C, and what we've got is kind of a forged head, kind of a traditional side cutter mounted onto a slightly leveraged mechanism of, looks like pressed steel, and that steel then extends down quite a ways into the handle. I can put a magnet on it, so it's got some depth to that. Why would you want these? Well, they are very light. Crescent advertises that they're about a third lighter than traditional pliers. Well, to me, this is traditional pliers. If they mean a traditional side cutter, it's not quite a third. In fact, this Knipex is lighter, but it of course is smaller. But if you go up against something like this large Klein, which I don't think this has a peer actually in the side cutter world, yeah, it's definitely a third lighter than these. But why would you want these? Well, if you're carrying them all day, it is lighter. That third doesn't matter as much, but it is generally lighter unless you're carrying a small set of side cutters. And that mechanical advantage in the lever here, they're saying reduces it about 25%. If you go much more than that, like with these NWS kind of a 50% leverage pliers, what happens is you have to open them up to a fairly large angle. I mean, that's where you're getting the leverage. You know, it's the change here between, you know, the handle spacing versus the jaw spacing. It's not a one-to-one like this. Instead, there's a mechanical advantage, but in order to get even just a small piece, say this 12-gauge wire, in here, you can see it's not going to go in all the way, and that's about the maximum of my usable reach. If I open this up further, yes, I can get that in there. But trying to close it, you know, I'd have to choke way up, which undoes, you know, a lot of the leverage. So by going with a little bit smaller mechanical advantage, I can easily drop something like this in. You see there's plenty of room. I'm not able to move down on the plier handles as easy, but, you know, it's pretty close. You can see I'm right there near the edge. When I do that, these cut like this. In fact, here's an example where I was snipping them off. Some people like that and call that a feature, not a bug, because you don't lose the piece, but it's weak enough that you can easily pop these apart, you know, and throw them somewhere. So sometimes it cuts it off, sometimes it doesn't, depending maybe on how hard I'm pushing. But if I'm anywhere else on the blades, it just shoots it off. Is it a mechanical advantage that's noticeable? Absolutely. Of course, this is as well, but I can't get the wire as far down in, so the trade-off kind of is about the same. This I can't get into towards the bottom of the jaw as easy. This one I can, but that makes it about equal. But if I do something like this, this is noticeable. It's a little bit harder. Is it the end of the world? Not on something like this. Much more than that it would be. I really like these large Kleins though, but they weigh a ton and they're large. So these and these are very similar, except of course there's no mechanical advantage here. Much solid construction. This is an heirloom tool. It's going to last forever. This thing, you can see, you know, I've been cutting a bunch with it, kind of testing it out. It seems to be holding up. They do say that this is a induction hardened edge on the cutting knives there. And they use a chrome vanadium steel. It's overall, the fit and finish is good. It's a Taiwanese made tool, about 15 bucks on Amazon. But it is something that you could easily cut. I like the asymmetrical handles. You could easily cut all day long with the thing. Others like the Snap-ons, they're a different kind of animal. Definitely take a little bit more effort. But kind of doing the same thing there. Look at that. These are my old ones. So I got newer ones. I should probably warranty. Maybe I will take those in, warranty them. But these got so stiff that it kind of made me upset. But anyway, these cut really nice. They're the Vector Edge technology. A little bit of precision up at the tip. But if you want a good, inexpensive pair of pliers, of side cutters with that mechanical advantage, asymmetric handles. I've got fairly large hands, but if you have smaller hands and you don't mind cutting more in the middle, you know, they pay off. If they last, they're well worth the price. If they don't, then they're just a good all-around plier that's probably consumable. But anyway, much easier to use. I think this little depression here, it's kind of an indexing point, should be down lower. I know that's, I don't know, it just seems like my hand keeps sliding up on these, even though there is a little bit of rubberized traction right there. I'm just finding that if there had been something here that held my finger down, it would keep my hand seated lower on the handle, and then I could really take advantage of that leverage. But if as my hand slides up, you know, I'm losing half that handle. So I think they could redesign the handles a little bit better. A lot of them have that bump near the top. It's almost like a guard, not necessarily some way to align the hand. But if I could keep my hand further back easily, then I would definitely get a better feel for that leverage. But overall, pretty decent. I was curious about them for the lightweight, which they are, and for the mechanical advantage, which it does have. And I was pleasantly surprised with the size, because it is fairly large. Not as big as the Klein there, but here's the snap-on, so you can see a little bit smaller. Anyway, that's the Crescent heavy-duty diagonal pliers with the mechanical advantage. And with that, Doc out.